Hey Eastview kids, I'm Vicky, and I'm so glad you're here. Today, we are going to learn more about the Israelites on their journey to the Promised Land. But before we get into it, let's offer up our praise and worship to God by singing this song.
No, I won't be afraid. You are with me. You are right beside me every day. Even when it feels like everything's going wrong, I can look up to you, God, and find my strength. Your love has lifted me above the raging sea, and I just gotta say, your love makes me brave, and I won't be afraid. Your love makes me brave, I can face anything. Your love makes me brave. I was lost and afraid till you found me. You lifted me up and gave me strength. Anywhere that I go, you go with me. Oh, Lord, you give me the courage to live each day. Your love has lifted me above the raging sea, and I just gotta say, your love makes me brave, and I won't be afraid. Your love makes me brave, I can face anything. Your love makes me brave, and I won't be afraid. Your love makes me brave, I can face anything. Your love makes me brave. Your word will light my way. Your word will help me to stand. I know I'm safe with you. I know I'm held in your hands. Your word will light my way. Your word will help me to stand. I know I'm safe with you. I know I'm held in your hands. Your love makes me brave, and I won't be afraid. Your love makes me brave, I can face anything. Your love makes me brave, and I won't be afraid. Your love makes me brave, I can face anything. Your love makes me brave. Your love makes me brave. Your love makes me brave.
Well, for today's lesson, we are going to go back to my favorite Italian restaurant, where my friends Mario and Luisa are going to tell you all about today's big idea: stand up to peer pressure. In today's story, the Israelites are so close to the Promised Land, but what they find is not what they were expecting. Let's take a look.
Is a Mustachi or Ristorante?
Welcome back to the Mustachi Ristorante. You come here so often, you're like my family now. I already have a table ready for you. One of our servers will be with you in a moment.
Hello, my name is Nicole, and I will be serving today. Did you notice anything different about me? No, it's not my shirt. No, I didn't grow taller. Look at this mustache. It's quite impressive facial hair for an 8-year-old, you know. Okay, you look over the menu, and I will send out your bread.
It's a time for the memory verse.
Here you go. Today's memory verse is from Luke 10:27. Listen as I say the verse. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Love him with all your strength and with all your mind. And love your neighbor as you love yourself. Now say it with me. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. Love him with all your strength and with all your mind. And love your neighbor as you love yourself. Terrific! Enjoy your bread.
Have you had enough time to look over the menu? We have a wonderful special today. Would you like to know what it is? Let's head to the kitchen to ask the chefs.
Joey, we need 5 orders of ravioli with meat sauce, some eggplant parmigiana,
And some pizza pie. Oh, and what can we do for you? You need to know today's special? Mario, tell them today's special.
Today we're serving up the Promised Land Special. Milk and honey, grapes as big as rocks, and fresh water. Joey, we need another Promised Land Special. Never mind, Luis and I got it. Okay, let's get started.
I want you to think back to a man named Abraham. God promised Abraham that he would make him into a great nation and give him a promised land, a great land.
Well, hundreds of years later, Israel had become a great nation, but they were wandering in the desert, searching for the Promised Land.
Then God told the tired and worn out Israelites, "You're almost there. The promised land is just around the corner. Welcome to Canaan."
The Promised Land sounded great, but there were a lot of questions to be answered.
Were the cities big? Was the soil good? Did the land produce fruit?
To find out the answer to all these questions, Moses sent out 12 spies to go check out the area and find out who was living in the Promised Land.
The spies went and checked out the land. What they discovered was the land was very good. The soil could produce great crops. They saw grapes that were huge. No, I mean huge. That's what I'm talking about. In fact, they were so big, the men had to cut down a whole branch and carry it on a pole between them.
There was also fresh water to drink. Remember, these people have been wandering in the desert for a very, very long time. With fresh water, they could quench their thirst every day.
But there was also a small problem. Well, actually, a giant problem. There were a lot of people living in the land, and some of those people were huge. Seriously, there were giants towering over 9 feet tall.
Check it out. The average man looks like this. Most NBA stars are about this tall, and the giants living in the Promised Land were over 9 feet tall. Talk about intimidating.
And some of the cities had massive thick walls, making it seem impossible to attack. As the spies continued giving the bad news, one of the spies, Caleb, interrupted and said, "Let's go take the land God has given us." Another spy, Joshua, agreed with Caleb.
Whoa! Who did these guys think they were? I mean, Joshua and Caleb stood up not to only the other 10 spies, but to all the leaders of Israel. They spoke to the people saying, "Who cares about thick walls and giants? The awesome and all-powerful God is with us. There's no need to worry. We got this. Let's move it."
But the Israelite people had little faith in God. They were so scared they refused to go into the promised land.
They were frozen in fear. Joshua and Caleb were so upset they tore their robes.
And I'll give you one guess. What do you think the Israelite people said? Mamma mia! They said they wished there were slaves back in Egypt. And that did it.
God came to Moses to talk to him and said, "Enough!" Over and over, he had shown these people his power and glory, yet they refused to have faith and obey. Because of their lack of faith, there would be a consequence.
God told them they could keep their bags packed because instead of moving into the wonderful promised land, they would wander the desert for 40 years.
only two other men would ever live to see the promised land: Caleb and Joshua. When everyone else was scared and afraid, these two spies had faith and courage. They stood up to peer pressure, and God rewarded them.
Today's big idea: stand up to peer pressure. Order up. Hey, why don't you go help Joey make the pizza pie?
Now it's time for the trivia.
When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. Oh, you're here to help make the pie. Excelente! So here's the deal. You answer a question correctly from today's story, and I'll throw on some toppings. What was the name of the promised land? Canaan or Egypt? Canaan. How many spies were sent to check out the land? 2 or 12? 12. Because the Israelites had little faith and disobeyed God, how many years did they have to wander the desert? 4 or 40? 40 years. The only two adults that would get to enter the promised land were Joshua and Caleb or Aaron. Caleb. Look at that pizza pie. Perfecto. So, what did you think about today's big idea? I was wondering, how are you going to stand up to peer pressure? How about we ask some of our customers?
When your friends are making fun of another kid, pipe up and say something nice about that kid.
When you are at church and your friends are messing around during worship, tell them to stop and keep worshiping our awesome God. These are some great ways we can live out today's big idea. So, remember, stand up to peer pressure. See you next time. Ciao!
Isa Mustachi o Ristorante.
So in today's story, the Israelites gave in to their fear. They got scared when they learned that the Promised Land had people living there who were big and powerful and couldn't be defeated. But Caleb and Joshua stood firm. They believed in the power of God to deliver them once again. And in the end, they were the only two who were able to actually enter the land God had promised to the Israelites. And it's because they stood up for what they knew was right. So, our lesson for us today is this: stand up to peer pressure. Believe God. Now, I'm going to leave you with a few questions to talk about as a family. Press pause, read them together, and then have a little chat about it. We'll see you next week.